behind RocketShop. This channel, first and foremost, is about rocketry. I've been at this hobby for a while. Before I was into rockets, I would build and fly model airplanes and RC airplanes. Some of the construction processes that I learned from that hobby do transfer over. Things like fillet making, getting things nice and square, proper alignment on vertical and horizontal stabilizers on airplanes. That does transfer over into things like fin making, tube slotting. The general practices between the two hobbies have a lot of crossover. Still a little bit new in terms of rocketry, so I have a lot to learn. And so part of this channel will be you all learning along with me as I progress into this hobby deeper and deeper. Speaking of which, the next video that you can expect to see on this channel will be my level 1 cert flight using this rocket right here. This is a scratch built rocket I made. It is based off the Century Javelin, which was a rocket from the late 1960s, early 70s, made by Century, which was actually a predecessor to Estes rocketry. The original Javelin was about that big. This is a 400% scale up. You saw this rocket fly first in my previous video, the first video on this channel, and that was the maiden flight, and I was testing that out on mid-power, a G motor, producing roughly 28 pounds of thrust, just to make sure that the rocket was stable, that it was going to fly like the sim that I built it in said it would fly, to just verify that it would be a good candidate to use for high power cert, and that's what I'm going to do. As you can see here, I picked up an Aerotech 29mm 360 Newton-second casing. This will fit up to an I-200 motor in it. An I-200, a max thrust, pretty high, it's over 100 pounds. Average thrust, a little less than that. I believe, I don't have my calculator on hand, but 200 newtons of average thrust turns out to roughly 45 pounds of thrust, I believe. That won't be the motor I get my cert on, that will come later, but that will be a video on this channel, building the motor and flying the rocket. My cert flight will be on an H-118, coming up in about a week from when this video is recorded, and that will probably be the next video on this channel. Some of the things you can expect to see on this channel are construction processes. I plan to document builds such as this one that I'm in the middle of right now. This is a rocket that I'm going to call, I think, the Allegro. It's based off the first rocket that I ever scratch built, which was a real tiny one, flew on B and C motors. But I've decided to upscale it, and as you can see here, I have a custom payload bay made. This rocket won't be dual deploy, but it will be two-stage eventually. So this will house the staging electronics, and I'll go into that in greater detail later. You can also expect to see rockets flying on this channel. Like I said, a level 1 cert flight here coming up. And here's some things you can expect to see in the very near future. So, when I was building my level 1 cert rocket, I just got the blue tube. It's a special phenolic tube that is put together in such a way that it's supposed to reduce the risk of cracking that you might see when fins like this hit the ground really hard. There's that shock that travels up the fin root, and if it's bad enough, you might start to get cracking on tubes like this. But this rocket is made out of blue tube, which is super strong to that. However, I had to make my own slots in this tube because the fins are mounted through the wall, as you can see in a previous video that I made about this rocket. So in order to make the fin slots for this rocket, I had a couple options. I could either buy a fin slotting jig. There's one on Apogee Components, and it costs somewhere in the neighborhood of $200. It's pretty expensive. I'm a broke college student with some woodworking skills, and I thought I could do better than that. So I drew up some plans, and I'll go into this in a little bit greater detail later, but I made my own homemade fin sliding jig. And this jig has worked tremendously. On my test flight of this Javelin here, there was no spin at all as the rocket flew up. So that means that the part that matters, that will control the roll of the rocket, how square the fins are like this, is pretty dead on with this. So I'm going to go into a little greater detail on how I made this. It's in two parts. There's a top plate here that will hold the router and guide the router down, and there's this bottom component here that holds the tube centered. This also works well as a building platform if you're working on things like payload bay or drilling for removable rivets like this. So you can expect to see this crop up in the near future on this channel, and how to make one of these. I'm going to be trying to release a video once a week on this channel. The day that I'm going to release a video will be Monday. If I don't release a video on a given Monday, look for the next Monday for a video to come out. That just means I wasn't able to get a video done that week, and, well, life happens. So there are other things that come first before this channel, obviously, and before my hobby. But I think once a week will be doable, so look forward to that. One last thing, and then we'll wrap this video up. As I mentioned previously, just on the cusp of level 1 rocketry. I have a long way to go. There's still level 2 and level 3 certifications that I can get. I won't be getting those for a while though. I'm going to try to learn as much as possible with level 1 before I move on. That said, if you are level 2 or level 3 certified, that is awesome. Just a heads up, some of the stuff on this channel, you're probably already beyond. On that note as well, I'm not going to try to post videos about things that I'm not experienced with. If you see something on this channel, it's because I've used that technique and it's worked and it's reliable. So that's kind of my promise to you. I'm not going to try to overstep my bounds and teach or instruct or just even show you things of which I'm not even certain that work. So everything on this channel will be flight tested. Let's just lay that ground rule out now. So, that about concludes everything that I wanted to say in this installment of Ryan's Rocket Shop. Again, welcome to the channel. I'm Ryan. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next Monday.